Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy whatever day of the week it may be when you are watching this. The On and Off concert was a terrific time. Learned a lot, experienced a lot, and it was kind of one of those things that really just happened on a whim. So I figured I did the same thing with the Dreamcatcher show 2 years ago, but let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that!
First of all, it was spectacular. I had tremendous fun. Thankfully survived the tinnitus, so that's always a great time, just barely. But I want to get off rip. It doesn't really matter who you're going to see. A live set is always going to be a little bit different gravy. It can be, your church choir on Sunday service. It can be someone busking on the street corner. It can be a proper live set. It can be a big stadium tour. It doesn't really matter. As long as you get to experience it live, it's going to be different. And I'm always going to enjoy a live set. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm always going to enjoy a live set. So I went in already beaming with happiness, with excitement about the fact that I get to just go see a live show to begin with. It just, was that little bit of magic because it happened to be a K-pop group that I've very much fallen in love with very quickly. It's a group that, it's very still fresh in my mind considering, I'd only just done the title track deep dive about a week prior. Not even a week prior, it was last Sunday that I did the whole on and off title track deep dive. So I knew a little bit going into it. And of course we covered the last two eras and their music at a pretty close level. So I knew what I was signing myself up for. What I didn't realize though was how kind of seamless everything was going to go. So for reference, I've been to, including festivals, this would have been my fourth K-pop related music thing that I've gone to, because I went to both days of K-pop Flex in Germany in 2022. Did the first day of MIK London Music Festival in 2022. Did the London stop for Dreamcatcher's Apocalypse Follow Us tour. So that was Vision era. That was end of 2022. And then On and Off Spotlight tour stop in Nagoya this year. And well, I've mentioned offhand a couple times, but I live near enough to Tokyo to where if a group had a concert stop, I would go to their Tokyo one or their Yokohama one, because those are commutable distances for me. But I didn't find out about the On and Off tour until really late in ticket sales. As well, I did the whole deep dive last Sunday, and I had to go to campus at my uni to do some paperwork stuff the next day on the Monday. So I was in the train going to campus. I was on my phone trying to queue up songs on Spotify, and I saw that, On and Off are touring, because I follow On and Off on Spotify. So whenever there's a concert series or a news blast out and a new release, boom, I get a little splash screen notification saying, hey, this artist is doing X, Y, and Z. Saw that On and Off had their Spotlight tour. Oh, On and Off touring in Japan. Let's see what's up. I saw they had a Tokyo stop at the Zepp Haneda. Oh, a wonder. Nope, tickets were already sold out. Shoot. So I didn't think much of it. This was the way to campus. Got to campus, did all the paperwork stuff, had lunch around campus, came back, and then on the train ride home, what was I doing? I was queuing up something. It was unrelated to On and Off. And then somewhere in my brain, it clicked that, hey, maybe they have other Japan spots that I could go to. So I went and looked. Saw they had an Osaka stop, which was also sold out. I think it was less so sold out and more so it was literally the day before the show and sale window had closed. But there was one stop open for Nagoya, which was last night, the 2nd. And, well, I thought, Nagoya's not that far away. If I pay the money to take the bullet train down, the Shinkansen down to Nagoya, and if I can get scheduling and stuff right, I could make it down to Nagoya, go see the concert, and come back on the same day. So I went home, did some research, did all my trip planning and stuff. I have screenshots of the train planning and stuff like that. And I saw that if everything went to plan, which for Japanese rail travel is a pretty high chance that everything's going to run to schedule, And if I could get the timing of the concert and the set list, the length of the set list down perfectly, I could make it a day trip. So I pulled the trigger. Bought tickets online, started buying train tickets. Surprisingly, not the most expensive concert in the world. Because, well, for reference, like, K-Pop Flex and MIK were big music festivals, so they were pretty expensive. Like, these were long, like, 6-hour outdoor shows. Well, I guess K-Pop Flex was a stadium tour, but these were big shows, so tickets were equally expensive. But if I want to compare directly to Dreamcatchers, well, one, Dreamcatchers I had to get through Ticketmaster, which is bleh. You don't deal with Ticketmaster. No. I also had to pay London tax, and I had to pay in GBP. And that's just a combination of making everything very expensive. Unlike for the On and Off tour, with a really weak yen and not having to deal with Live Nation or Ticketmaster for ticket sales, it kind of worked out pretty well. Because, well, here, Dreamcatcher I got at the Brixton O2. It was a pretty decently big venue, second floor seating, first floor general standing. I got general standing and paid 108 GBP, which at the US dollar now is 135 bones, which is a considerable amount of money for concert tickets. Admittedly, I don't know how much of that is Ticketmaster fees and stuff like that, but if we go to JPY, the Japanese yen, I paid 11,000 yen, including all the fees and stuff. $71 for the current yen, converted to US dollars. That is an extremely affordable price. Admittedly, I didn't get floor, because floor was already sold out. I got general admission seating second deck. But even so, the venue was small enough to where it didn't really matter if you were in the upper deck or on floor. Like, those are very reasonable prices. And then you include the mandatory, like, drinks fee. Still, keeping it under 80 bones just for, like, your mandatory drink and admissions and stuff. And it's not like you just get a plastic cup with water in it. You get a choice of pretty wide range of bottled drinks. Because, one, bottled drinks are a lot safer. Especially if you're, like, sitting down and you have to put your drink under a chair. Maybe it gets jostled around a little bit. If you tip your free drink over that's in a cup, oh, that's it. That's your free drink done. You have to go and buy more. But with a bottle, I mean, sure, you have to pay for the bottle, but you don't have to worry about it getting tampered with. If it tips over, you don't have to worry about it spilling. And it's just a more durable way to hold on to a drink. And I thought that was terrific. Plus, it's not just water. You get a wide range. You get your bottled teas, you get your sports drinks, you got your, like, fizzy pop drinks or your soda drinks. If you, I think, paid the extra 100-something yen, you could get alcoholic drinks as well if you wanted to. But it was overall just really well managed. Like, even if there was just the smidget of a line when I got there, everything went by super smoothly. Like, I didn't have a bag. I just had my power bank for my phone, and then my phone and, keys, wallets, earbuds and stuff like that. Screening was essentially non-existent if you didn't have a bag. You just kind of walk through the door, pay your entry fee, and then get your drink. Bada bing, bada boom. Super easy. But apart from all of that, like, the fees weren't too bad getting into the show. Taking the train down was also not that bad at all. I'm cost-wise, it was like, what, 23,000 yen? So it was 150 bucks on reserved seats on the Shinkansen both ways. Is not that bad, considering it was like 120 GBP one way while I was living up in the north of England trying to get to a London show. And the fact that, trains ran on time, they're comfortable, they're quiet, they're reliable, and they get you there really quickly, I'm not going to complain. Because it's an hour 45-ish from Tokyo to Nagoya on the fastest Shinkansen, the Nozomi. And, well, thanks to Golden Week, all seats were reserved. There's usually some, like, non-reserved seating available, but Golden Week being one of the biggest holidays of the year, they made it all reserved just so everyone had a spot to sit in if they needed one. But I hop on, my, like, little local train that'll get me to Tokyo first. And then from Tokyo to Nagoya, get on the Shinkansen. Takes an hour 45. I get to Nagoya Station 5:15ish. I think, if exactly speaking, 5:12. Is thank you punctuality, but 5:12 p.m. doors opened at the venue at 5. The show was at 6, and I knew because I was in upper gallery with assigned seating. I didn't need to get there at doors open to get a spot. I figured as long as I'm inside the venue before 6, I'm okay. So I got to Nagoya Station 5:12, walked to the venue from the station, which was about 10-15 minutes. Big roads, nice intersections, crosswalks, the whole lot. Walk to the venue. There's no queue because doors have been open for a long time. I walk in, pay the 600 yen for the drinks fee, get a nice little tag, carabiner clip thing to the venue, get my sports drink, go up to the gallery, sit down in my assigned seat, and wait for the show to start until 6 p.m. So everyone's talking about, other groups they like, come back. Some people were out with their friends to the show and like catching up, fawning over like fan goods that people had, like, posters and stuff. And then 6 o'clock rolls around. Lights go down, the obligatory announcement for if there's a fire, make sure you identify your exit strategies, no flash photography, yada yada yada. The intro film starts on the big screen. First song, doors open, members walk out. First song was I think New World? It was New World into... I don't remember the full set list. Mainly because I was too busy jamming out to keep track of it. But members do their introductions. This was also a new experience for me because I'd only ever been to shows where the members involved didn't really know the language. But now that the show was in Japan and on and off our group that had done Japanese releases before and done Japanese promo, the members knew enough Japanese to kind of like banter around and just joke around. And then, occasionally when it got like deep conversations and stuff, they'd rely on a translator, offstage translator and stuff. But seeing the members just like really try and just interact with the crowd in the crowd's native language was, I think, super cool. And I mean, we'll use Japanese, so that we'll get to you in a second, but just like getting all the members just joking around in Japanese, I thought really charming, really cool. Speaking of charming, really cool, Yu's Kansai-ben is adorable. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was that like smooth, but also like that pronounced. But man, I love his Kansai-ben so much. I didn't know he was from Osaka, right? That must have been cool that he got to go home for his first leg of the Japan tour. But Ishin came up with a thing for the Nagoya stop in Nagoya and Nagoya. And boy, did we run with that throughout the show. It's like, Nagoya, Nagoya. And that happened, I'd probably say an average of 3 to 4 times per member intermission, which is quite impressive. And it's like every single time we really just ran with it. Nagoya! Ishin and Seungjun, the chemistry they had was freaking hilarious. They constantly keep just like ribbing at each other, and it's just like, I get you. Wyatt is freaking adorable. Like, for such a man who is, I mean, it wasn't like the Osaka stop where he went full shirtless, but man is built like a wedge. He is wham. But he's just so, his mannerisms I find very adorable. MK seems really shy sometimes, and Hyojin is just like, why am I, okay, fine, I'll get involved with it, but he's cute about being like, kind of a little standoffish, which I find really adorable. And then you kind of goes along with the flow for a lot of stuff, which is super cool. And then show kept going. We had a bit of a brighter block with music. Brighter music, like, we had a little bit popping, which even listening to it live, knowing what happens in like the MV and stuff is kind of funny. The song still vibes though. Hold on, I had a note of it. They did a song called Difficult. I think it was called Difficult. I looked it up during intermission, and I forgot if it was difficult or not, but said they hadn't performed this song in a very long time, and it was almost like their bodies were on autopilot. and it was more muscle memory that got them to the set, and rather than actually remembering the song and stuff like that, which I thought was super neat. Is yeah, their discography goes back quite a few years at this point now. Just super cool. We had another like intermission bit. Then we had a little ballad block. And now let me talk to you about this ballad block. Y'all told me in the what is it? When we were checking out the deep dives, as well as By My Monster the first time around, that On and Off's ballads hit kind of diffy. Especially after we checked out Breath, Haze, and Shadow off of the most recent album. That On and Off's ballads hit a little bit differently. Boy, were you right, because they had a triple block, or they had a triple song block of just ballads to kind of bring it down and transition into the next block, which we'll get to in a second. But they started off with Nishiyoshikan, the Japanese version of 24 Hours, which was, it was so pretty, and they did it with like just enough lights to be able to see the members, and you could kind of almost hear their voices twinkle in the air. Then we went to Moscow, Moscow. Y'all were not kidding about Moscow, Moscow. That song was so pretty indeed. And it's just like this kind of, I almost wanted the disco ball that was on stage that wasn't being lit up to be actually like utilized, for all the chairs to go away and you could just kind of swing along to the song, because it's so nice. The vibes are so good. And then they did Breath, Haze, and Shadow off of the most recent album. It's like, oh yes. And Breath, Haze, and Shadow is almost, there was like a faint bit of like smoke in the venue. It was so appropriate for that song. It was so cool. It made everything for me there. Like environment wise. Oh, I forgot to mention about the Bright Block. They did My Name Is. I knew what I was getting myself into with My Name Is, because in between the show and the deep dives, I went and checked out the MV in my free time. And if that isn't one of the most adorable like MVs I've ever seen, it's freaking adorable, and it's such a good way to introduce the members and stuff. And I think what was really cool was they spread the members in pairs depending on like what verse they appear in the song throughout the venue. So they had like Hyojin, Ishin, Wyatt, and Sungjun on floor. And we got Minkyun and Yu on the upper deck, and they're just like walking up and down the aisle, like high-fiving, doing hearts and stuff, and they're singing through the song, and it's just like, okay, no, this is really cool. I love this. I feel like you couldn't do that in a lot of places. Just let members kind of roam off into the crowd on their own without it becoming like a health and safety hazard, because fans will want to crowd to the edges to like get high fives and get pictures and videos with the idols, and then in turn like the idols don't want to get mobbed by someone in the crowd and stuff like that. But it was really cool to like get see an idol pretty up close and personal, performing, doing their thing. I was 4 seats away from the aisle, so I got to see them walk pretty close by, and it was really nice. Anyways, Ballad Block, kind of bringing it back down a little bit, and then we went into the Dark Block, because this was the first time that By My Monster had been performed in Japan, because, well, it's the last release they had before they came over here. So we had By My Monster, which was super cool live, very pretty. Then they went into We Must Love, but the Road to Kingdom arrangement of it, which I thought was super cool. I know that ATs, whenever they're doing shows now, they don't do the regular version of Wonderland. They do the Kingdom version of Wonderland now. It was like, oh, there's another group that does something like this. And the Road to Kingdom version of We Must Love also does have that little bit of kind of elegance to it, and I thought that was super cool, because it wasn't something I was expecting. I was expecting the studio arrangement, but they came in with the Road to Kingdom version. I was like, oh, that's very nice. That's very nice indeed. I guess we're starting to wrap up the show now at this point. Other songs of note: Why Live, very dramatic. They did a B-side called Geppetto, which I thought was really cool. It was a song that I'd never heard of before. I had to Google Assistant what song is playing right now. I was like, Geppetto. On and Off. Oh, this song is really good. I wouldn't playlisted that after the show, but Geppetto I thought was a standout B-side for me throughout the show. And then we're starting to wind down the show a little bit. So we're into our final block. Hit a song, Show Must Go On. And then we get like if you saw any pictures from the Nagoya show, they had like these big inflatable like rubber ball kind of thing, balloon things that they throw out into the floor section, kind of bouncing it around back and forth. One of them burst towards the end of the song, and I know that On and Off can get squeamish over like popping balloons and stuff. So it's just like watching contents with like the ticking balloon interview stuff. It popped like right in between edge of stage and the fans. It just poof, and boy did that cause some commotion, but it looked like the members had a whole lot of fun. It looked like floor people had a lot of fun. And then we went into Beautiful, Beautiful. Let me tell you, Beautiful, Beautiful is still tremendous. It's terrific. I am a little bit, I mean, this is in the best way, like the best reason to be a little bit sad, but I couldn't really appreciate the acapella portion of the little interlude before the final chorus because the fan chants were so loud. But I think that's the coolest thing to happen, is to just be overwhelmed by the fan chants. I thought it was super cool. Love that, especially when you're in a more kind of intimate venue like Zepp Nagoya. You just feel that passion and the love from the crowd go towards the artist, and I love that. But they end the show with Beautiful, Beautiful. They go out on the obligatory final, like, closing film, encore, encore. Fans start chanting that. Members come back out. Having Your Song as an encore song is so unfair, because it's, oh, like, I love Your Song with such a passion. And being able to sing along to it, being able to hear them sing it live too, was just, Then they went Message, and then finished with Complete. And boy, it was a party during Complete. Like, it didn't matter if you were in second deck or on floor, you were literally bouncing along to it, and I love that. And yeah, that's how the show wrapped up. It was terrific. They were so funny. I love that they're a group that can be very serious when they need to be, but don't take themselves too seriously at all. Because I think it really shows the kind of lighthearted nature they have in, like, terms of approach towards their music too. Because even in their, like, more complicated, like, intense stuff, you see on stage their gear changes when they go into performer mode, but as soon as they switch into crowd pleasing mode, like, you know, crowd mode, they're like two different people. It's so cool, because you can tell that they enjoy being up there in front of fans, almost kind of like they are like the butt of all the jokes, but they want to be there in a way. Especially Ishin and Seungjun, they kept prodding at each other's buttons the entire show. And I think it stemmed from them talking about how Minkyun and Seungjun had, you know, they switched from their stage names to their actual names for this era. They're like, okay, everyone knows everybody. It must have been after My Name Is, right? Yeah, it must have been after My Name Is. But they're kind of talking about how, oh, everyone's got the same name except for you and you. And they're talking about, oh, what's changed since we changed names? And Ishin, I forget what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, "It's changed? No, not really." Something like that. It was just like a pretty blunt and cold, direct answer. And then Sung just kind of menacingly walks over, like that aggressive, like, oh, I'm gonna get you for that type of handshake. And he's like, you think about that answer for the next couple of days before the Tokyo show. It's like, But I love that chemistry they had going on there. You very much being kind of like the mediator of the entire show. This, you know, being the only member who's fluent, like natively fluent in the language and stuff, kind of automatically gets that role. But you was definitely someone who really impressed me during the show. I think if I had to pick any standout person, it would be you. It's because he reminds me, in terms of stage presence, to Wanas's Swangwon, where it's like, when you see him lock into performer mode, he becomes a different animal. Like, the way he moves, something in his brain just clicks. And it's like he's not the same person anymore. And it's super cool to see, because boy, does my boy move. And then, well, the show's over, the fun part's over, post-concert depression kicks in. I'm playing on and off in my earbuds, running back to the station, because this is where, like, the intense part of the night kicks in. Thanks to trains running exactly on time, I could precisely figure out when was the last train that I could take out of Nagoya to get home within the same day. So, in Japan, you have the final train on a line is called the Shuden, Saishu Densha, shorten it to Shuden. I knew that if I wanted to catch the final train running right by my house from Tokyo Station, I needed to be in Tokyo Station by like 10 past 11 at night, which meant I needed to get on, at the latest, the Nozomi Shinkansen out of Nagoya at 9:30-ish. Like, if it went past 9:35, I was barely gonna make it. If it went past 9:40, I wasn't gonna make it home that night. So this was, Tuesday when I was buying train tickets and stuff. I made sure I planned everything perfectly. And that gave me exactly 3.5 hours for the show to run and for me to leave the venue and get to the station. 3.5 hours. I didn't know how long the set list was at the time when I bought tickets. So I was really hoping that the show was going to be sub 3 hours, or else I was going to be in a world of trouble. Thankfully, the show, I think by the time I got out of the venue, was 2 hours 45-ish. So I had plenty of time. Went to Nagoya, got myself some dinner, got up to the station, got on the train, which I got to ride on one of the like brand new N700S Shinkansens, like the newest ones, with like the comfortable seats, the nice, like, gentler on the eyes but brighter lighting, the comfier seats, the quieter interior. The ride was so nice.
This is a K-pop channel.
What?
K-pop.
Oh. My bad. But the train ride's going smoothly, and then all of a sudden we get to Shin Yokohama, I think. And they say that they're doing safety inspections for something. And apparently someone had spilled something in one of the vestibule doors, and they were worried about it causing a safety hazard, so they had to do inspections. And the train was starting to run late now. And admittedly, I had 20 minutes in Tokyo Station to make my transfer, which is plenty of time, you'd think, but Tokyo Station isn't just like big wide-wise, but depth-wise as well. And the train I needed to catch was in the deepest part of the station. So to get from like the highest point of the station where the Shinkansen platforms are to the lowest point of the station where my train was to get home takes, if I walk, 15 minutes. So I had to like leg it through the station to make the train. Thankfully I made it, and I made it home okay. I caught the Shuden, got home, got in around midnight 35, midnight 40-ish, and took a shower and went straight to bed. The show was a success. It was terrific fun. I got home in one piece. My wallet doesn't hate me too much, and, well, I have a memory that I'm going to hold on to for a very long time now. And that just leaves the question of where can we go next with On and Off? We could kind of do something similar with full album deep dives. I just don't know how feasible that is, considering we have back catalogs, and there's also another artist I want to deep dive this year. But we'll see. But just rest assured, I will be back with On and Off at some point in the not so distant future, because On and Off are spectacular. They have very quickly climbed up the ranks when it comes to like favorite K-pop groups. In fact, I may need to go and update the boy group intro to include On and Off, which is gonna suck because that means I'm gonna have to drop an artist, and I don't know who I can drop, because I love all the guys on the intro reel, but I don't know. I think some difficult decisions are gonna have to be made, but yeah, they're spectacular. I can't wait to get further involved with them as a group. The concert was spectacular. It was so much fun, and if any of you out there have the opportunity to see anybody live, it doesn't matter who it is, if you have the opportunity to see anybody live, any genre of music, go do it. The experience you cannot replicate at home through earbuds. To be able to feel, hear, and see this music being made in front of you is such a cool experience. And I encourage you, if you have the funds and the time to do so, to go and do it. Because it's terrific. That's about it. Final words from me: go show your passion, go show your love and appreciation towards the artists you love. Keep it real, keep it wholesome, the usual 9 yards. I'm a friend, I'm the ally, I'm the shoulder you can lean on in the toughest of times. If you are going through some stuff, help make the world a little bit of a brighter place. One small act of kindness, the usual 9 yards. And well, I gotta go and catch up on the music I missed over the last couple days and go and edit this, so I will see you next time.